What's up, everybody? My name is Sketch the Journalist. I'm in Houston, Texas, formerly of Cut and Shoot, Texas. Uh, I'm here with my man Brinson, and we've switched hats this evening. So I'm wearing a GodChaserz cap in honor of him, and he's wearing a H-Town cap, I guess, in honor of me. That's something I gifted him the last time he was in town. I'm normally known for wearing it, but tonight I'm actually wearing my journalism cap. And what I'm going to be doing tonight, we're celebrating Brinson's career. His 10th album is coming up, so we're looking back at even 10 years into his career, what was going on. And one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is a song called Don't Rap No More. And you guys may be familiar with that video and that song, and so we're going to share a little bit of the stories and kind of behind the scenes about that. So welcome. Thanks for joining me tonight, Brinson. I appreciate it.
Oh man, I'm ready, dude. This is gonna be fun, man. Super fun.
Yes, yeah. So I guess let's start off. Where do you kind of put Don't Rap No More in your catalog of hits? To me, it was one of your bigger songs at the time. But how do you view it, I guess, to get us started?
I think it was really groundbreaking on levels because at the time, the South.com really made a big resurgence. Mm-hmm. And one of my homeboys, Z, heard the song, and he was actually the designer of the South. So he was trying numerous things to get that site, back popping. And one of the things that he was saying that he was going to take a video and just put it on the site, so when people come in, it's automatically gonna play. And when he heard it, he was like, "This is the one." So to this day, like when I talk to certain rappers and stuff like that, they always mention Don't Rap No More. And they're like, that's the one. That's the one. And I don't know, I think maybe top 3. I'm not gonna say it's one. I don't think it's one. Yeah. But it might be 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's one I think people definitely associate with you. And for those who may not be familiar, definitely go and look it up and listen to it. Buy it from his site or from your digital download store. But really, in some ways, it's kind of a call, I guess, to fellow Christian rappers. Would you say would you call it a diss song? You're challenging them. The hook goes, if you ain't about saving souls, don't rap no more. Put the mic down. I guess tell me a little about the writing of that. What pushed you and decided this is something I got to get off my chest? And did people take it as a diss? Did you intend it as a diss? Was it more of a challenge? Share with me about that.
Well, I freestyled that whole song, right? Yeah, I freestyled. I was at my computer, and this was during the time that I like to coin the Pharisee era of Christian rap, when everybody wanted to talk theology, and if you wasn't in a certain theological mindset, then you was an automatic heretic, and you're not supposed to be used by God. So dudes was really dogmatic on not who God chose, but who they chose. And I was just frustrated at it because a guy who used to be on my label, he jumped into that pool and got really dogmatic about it. And it just came to a head, and I just like, it's not about how much you know. It's not about your stance on your theology. It's about souls. And then I heard a beat. I just hit record and went. Like, if you listen to it, the pace that I'm rapping, you could tell I'm freestyling because I'm thinking in between pauses. In between bars, I'm like, go. But I mean, it was just on my mind and on my heart that the passion of what I was feeling spilled over into the record. And a lot of people thought I was dissing them. 2 funny stories. I remember Jason, we had a show together. He was like, dude, why are you rebuking these people? I'm like, bro, this is not a rebuke. It was like, yes, it is. I'm like, how are you going to tell me what I wrote? But, well, not what I said, but not wrote. But, and another interesting story, like I was in Pennsylvania, and it was this guy who rapped, and when I did Don't Rap No More, he thought I was talking about him.
Oh, yeah.
And he made a diss record, everything, made a video. I mean, he came at me, and that's how Jesus Is My Bodyguard got made, because people was like, go listen to the record, go listen to the record. And I know me, right? And I'm like, I'm not going to listen to that record. And I said, you know what, instead of directly responding to this dude, like, you got an issue with me, take it up with him. So that's how that, you know, so yeah, people took it as diss, but I think a lot of people made them reflect on, yeah, this really is about souls, and prayerfully it hopes it made some people think, maybe I need to get back to the main thing. We got to keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess I can see that how some people might perceive it. I guess if you went after me and you just and you're rapping Don't Rap No More, I might take a little offense to that. But like you said, hopefully you listen to the lyrics. So you said you freestyled kind of the verses. Did you already have, I guess, the hook in mind?
The hook was a freestyle.
Yeah.
So the hook, I just said it over the beat, and then I repeated it, and then I was like, oh, that's a hook. And then I stopped the track, and while I still was feeling that vibe, I just hit record again and just went.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. One thing I noticed when you performed it, and I've seen you, I think, perform it at South by Southwest and here in Houston, it brought a lot of fellow believers and fellow Christian rappers like on stage too, like to celebrate too. So I think that the people who didn't take an affront to it wanted to stand kind of shoulder to shoulder with you and do that. Did you find that in other cities and states? Was that kind of a rallying cry, I guess, for your colleagues?
I would say in a lot of states, yeah, but in two particular places, Houston being one of them, because it's really no place like Houston in the Christian hip hop world. Jacksonville was like that at one point.
Yeah.
But Houston's still there. But Jacksonville, Florida, Atlanta was like that. New York is like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think a lot of people feel the same way. And I think they still feel the same way, especially like in the Christian hip hop climate now, because we don't have a lot of people who are really ministry, mission minded. I'm not saying people are not. I'm saying the percentage of where it was when I did that song versus now is completely different.
Yeah. So in a way, I guess it's even more relevant today. Perhaps that challenge might be pushed towards some fellow believers who like to rap. You talked about Jacksonville in particular, and the other thing I want to talk to you about was the video. So I know that was shot by your guy Will of Space Cherry Films at the time, and it's got some cameos from guys like Eshawn Burgundy and Big Phil and some of the other guys from that area at that time. Tell me a little bit about that scene and getting all those guys together for that shot.
So it was a collaboration. Like, I just tried to make it a unity thing, right? Because at the time, Eshawn, he wasn't who everybody know now. Like, a Ready Rider put me on to Eshawn, and I found out he just moved to Jacksonville. So I reached out to him, told him who I was, what I do, and I was like, "Hey, we're shooting this video, bro. We're gonna be filming it." And he was with it. He was like, you know, we talked for a few times before he came, and we met like once or twice. And he came, and my man Jay, who was the founder of Straight and Narrow Clothing, was big back then. Now he's a pastor of Ville Church. He came. A lot of producers came, dancers. all the rap guys who I had on my Rolodex, I was like, come to this thing, we just gonna do it. And that moment when everybody was there, it was like so many people exchanged numbers. And then I think that was like the really start off point for when the Jacksonville scene popped off, because right after that, everybody started collaborating. People knew who each other were. And it was a cool thing. And, you know, we took some risks. Will Thomas, he was like, hey, he was like, for this song to stick out, you got to do stuff that haven't been done. We need to put a baseball bat in this thing. Like we need to break. Like, he just was going in. He was like, we need to break some stuff. We need to, you know, he was like, I'm just tired of seeing videos with everybody holding the Bible, because at that time, everybody had to do the prayer scene, the rap in front of the church scene, which nobody do anymore, by the way. But, you know, they had to have the rosary bead scene. He was like, no, I'm tired of that. We got to change it. So he was adamant about that. And it was cool, man, because we seen people shoot videos, but I think we went over the top with that one. You know, we had high quality cameras, lighting, makeup artists, everything.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the bat. I was, and two, I know that we're both pro wrestling fans. I didn't know if that was a Sting influence or what. You were going to come down from the rafters and point the bat at people.
No, man, that was all Will. He was adamant. Like, you know, he's a director for real, man. Like, when he gets in his zone and he has like an idea for like visuals, and I think that's why me and him work so well together. And he told me, he was like, that video got him so much work because people was like, I seen Don't Rap No More. How can you make me look like that? Because he got state-of-the-art cameras for that video shoot, and it was like camera lenses. He went all in for it.
Yeah. And so did he have any direction to your appearance at the time? I know that at that time it was kind of the Brinson soldier cap and fingerless gloves era. Was that something you already had, or was that part of the whole like baseball bat aesthetic?
No, he just told me to look fresh. He was like, do what you do, have changes. You know, that was the straight militant era, dude. The Castro hat, the gloves. Exactly. It was like, look, we going to war, so you got to be ready for war. That was the mindset, dude. Like, this is a spiritual war that we in. We have to get souls. The devil don't want us to have it. Somebody got to be militant about this thing, you know. And,
the beginning, it's kind of foreboding. You're like dragging a microphone and almost like a horror movie scene, and then later you're out in the woods next to like an abandoned cabin or something rapping. And
oh man. So here's something crazy. There was another record label in town, and they had a buttload of money, to say the least. Super money. And they hired him for a job, and they got these high-powered cameras, and they was like, you know, if you're done with our shoot, you do whatever. Dude hit me up and like, hey, Brinson, let's go. And when we did that wood shot, the camera had, I think he said it was like 8 G's for that camera. Wow. And that wood shot probably is, if you compare scenes, you could tell the difference in the camera. That wood shot was that scene. And it was so cool, man. That place, it was a reserve that we went and shot at, in that abandoned house. It was just history. Here's some history. Mark J and Sho Baraka did a music video. It was about a military thing, and somebody got captured by some terrorists.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah, it was dope, a dope video. That's the same house I was rapping in front of where they had the guy torturing him.
Really?
Oh! And I was one of the terrorists in that video. So
I think that rings a bell for me too. That's awesome. I don't know if I would have connected the two scenes without you telling me. So
it was crazy.
yeah. One of the things I thought was there's funny but also pointed to in the song. You said something about you referenced Biggie and Pac, and somebody kind of does a Pac imitation towards the end. Again, I guess that was just kind of off the top of the head. And is that something afterwards you go back and add the little baby kind of line? Or
it was the same. It was the same thing. I freestyled it, and I would listen to what I said, and the whole song was 3 takes. 1 take for the hook, 1 take for the verses, and 1 take for the ad libs.
Yeah,
isn't that crazy?
It is. And with that Biggie line, I think the line is actually like, you're sounding like Big. So at one point in time, we had a pretty prominent name in the scene that did sound a lot like Biggie. Did you ever cross paths? Did that come up in any way?
Never crossed paths. I wasn't even thinking about dude when I said it. I was just saying, you know, everybody is mimicking some secular dude.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, God is the originator. We just gotta, if we're gonna take a style, we just need to take it and make it our own instead of sounding exactly like these people.
Yeah. So this is an interesting question. Not necessarily a complaint, but is this a song about Christ or is this a song about Christian rap? So I think one of even Lecrae's bigger songs is Jesus music, and it's not so much about Jesus as much as it is the music surrounding it. And I guess you could look at this one way and say something similar. But how do you kind of view it? And is it wrong to write songs about music itself?
No, I don't think it's wrong about that at all. I mean, I don't think it's any rules in making music. If it were, they're all gone now. Like 2020 has shown us the rule game is out the door.
Yeah. Well, let me challenge you on that. So you say there's no rules, but in the song you actually are telling people, like, if you're not doing it this way.
Well, I think it's directed toward people who say they're doing it for Christ.
Yeah.
And if you're doing something for Christ, we gotta do the mission of Christ. Christ came to reconcile men unto God. Like, he came for souls. He came to fulfill the law. Like, all of this stuff. Like, if we go through the ministry of Jesus, they wanted a political leader. He was like, "Bump, what you talking about? We're talking about kingdom. Like,
yeah,
you can have Jerusalem. What's gonna happen when you leave Earth? You know what I'm saying?" So at the time when I did it, it was just like everybody was trying to prove a point and trying to say, if you wasn't in this group of guys, whether you was Calvinist, hyper Calvinist, Baptist, charismatic, word of faith, if you wasn't in this certain group, like it's like the groups they had the monopoly on Christianity. Like,
yeah,
you know, so that translated into Christian rap. And it just wasn't a good time, dude. It wasn't a good time to be a Christian rapper who was trying to do the will of God, so to speak. It was a good time if you wanted to be clicked up with people. It wasn't a good time if you wanted to do the will of God, because in that time I seen a lot of guys with pure hearts, pure motives get destroyed because they wasn't in a particular theological camp. And it wasn't so much the rappers, it was a lot of the fans decapitating these dudes. Yeah. I remember this one guy, he was in town at one of the mega churches, and these guys rolled up at his table. It was like, oh, you got billionaire in your song title, and they just started quoting scriptures at it. And the guy was shorter than me, right? And these dudes was like big, and he was like, Brinson, I ain't come to your city to have the theological police to come at me. I was like,
yeah,
they ain't bring that to me. I was ready. You should have came and got me. I was in the back chilling, but it wasn't a good time. So, that the song came out of a frustration. Like, let's put the main thing back. Like, let's go get these people. Cause before I started GodChaserz, I was doing prison ministry hardcore and seeing people getting changed in prisons, and like the maximum security prisons, death row, the P farms and all that stuff, and just seeing that and seeing how God can translate people's lives, and these guys getting out, and I'm seeing them, and they're like, I done changed my life, I'm doing this, whoop, whoop, whoop. And then, I'm like, hey, this is real ministry. Let's cut these beats on and do the same thing. And then, you find out other people got other motives. So
yeah. Yeah, and to your defense, I challenged you there, but I know too what you were saying, and I think you've been pretty consistent about this. You're okay with guys doing life rap or whatever. You just feel like, hey, if you're going to classify or call it like ministry music, adhere to that definition. Don't, the same way on Netflix, you wouldn't want to see a cooking show and you turn it on, it's actually a game show or something like that. Like, if this is what you're going to call it, live up to that definition, and so that people and the consumers know what it is when they get into it. So
yeah, I care about people, man. Like,
yeah.
I personally know what the power of music can do. Like, I would throw on a Woo purple tape. I would throw on like some anything that was up north and be ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, before I would go to school in high school, I would cut on some rap in the morning and go in and beat somebody down. Cause that was my thing. It wasn't drugs or nothing. I just wanted to be violent. You know what I'm saying? And I was, but I used the music as a motivator. So I know how the power of music can motivate people. And when I used to talk to guys in prison, I used to ask the funny question, dude. I used to be like, hey, what was you listening to before you robbed that person? What was you listening to before you was a jack boy? What was you listening to? What motivated? Oh, they was like, oh, I was listening to Jesus. I was listening. I hit I was on that Rubber Band Man by T.I. You know what I'm saying? I was listening to that. So I know it's a motivator, and I think it's important for people to be what they say they are, and not seeing mixed messages. Because if I co-sign something, 8-year-old Billy is like, hey, Brinson say this guy is good at me, and then when you cut the guy on, it's poison. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you say this for God and be about God, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, do life music, but if you claiming this thing, then be this thing. Like, false advertisement. Don't people get sued for
that? Did you ever get any apologies or people tell you stories that, hey, that did kind of challenge me? I didn't like it when it first came out. Or
yes.
Kind of thing afterwards, yeah.
Yes. And people was like, I ain't like you for a long time. I was like, I don't even know you.
Yeah.
I've never talked to you. I'm like, I'm the nicest guy you ever meet. I'm like, you didn't like me, and I didn't even know. I mean, I get that. Then you get somebody who's seen the video. They're like, hey, bro, I thought you was 6'7". I'm like, no, surprise. 6'7"? Like,
yeah.
No. Take almost a whole foot off that, bro. Like,
yeah. No. Well, that's good. So I guess final question, what is kind of the legacy of this song, would you say?
Wow. That is a great question. I would hope the legacy of the song would be for people to be God conscious and Great Commission conscious about it, because the song still applies. That's the weird thing. I told you what was happening when I made it. Fast forward 10 years, we in another type of era, and it still applies because it's easy to get caught up in style. It's easy to get caught up in where music is, like the flow and the wave of music, and it's easy to see the waves and all that and take your eyes off of the main thing. And then being ministry minded might not be cool anymore, and souls might not be cool, and then God has saved somebody who's secular and they're ministry minded, and everybody like, oh, it's dope to be a Jesus dude. It's like, it's been dope.
Yeah.
Jesus, God been good. So hopefully the legacy is artists, people in general, to be like, hey, who else you gonna take to heaven with you? Like 2020 that showed us like anything can happen at any given moment, and we just need to be on our guard of telling more people about Jesus, the cross, the saving grace of Christ. We need to be about souls, because I mean, we got racial tension, we got a pandemic, we got economic downpour, we murder hornets, Sahara desert dust clouds, like we got everything. I'm just waiting on like Thanos to come through the portal and just be snapping. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, you just got to be about these souls.
Yeah. Good. Well, thanks, man. Feel free to say anything else. If not, we can wrap this up.
Well, that's it. I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah. So this was in celebration of Brinson's 10th album. This song is 10 years old. And if you tell them about the 10th album, what can we expect? I don't know what kind of information you're releasing just this point in time, or but at least where they can go find it and follow you.
Well, pre-orders on GodChaserz.com. End of July, we're looking at something pretty sweet. And for the people who pre-order on the site, I got a lot of special things coming. I'm just excited. So, you know, Don't Rap No More. It's 10 years, 10 years old. The 10th album is about to drop, and I'm just happy and grateful that God is still using me in such a capacity, you know what I'm saying, to reach people. And, you know, I just give all praise to the Lord. Yeah.
And congratulations. 10 albums is no small feat, particularly in a kind of niche genre. And you've done it independently too. So major props on that.
Appreciate it, man. Only cosign was Christ, you know what I'm saying? You don't see all the big names, but hey, only big name is Jesus, bro. If you got Jesus, you got everything.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks, brother. I appreciate it. And we'll talk again soon.
Peace.
All right.